How did we get here? I don't know. We're going to compare shell fishing, 21st century Rhode Island, with whaling in the 19th century all over the world, using Herman Melville's great book, Moby Dick, as our guide. Okay. Christina explained how this happened. It is all Sue's fault. I was scratching around for some grant money, and Sue suggested that I apply to Rich. I did. They gave me a mini grant. This is one of their grants awarded monthly for research in the humanities. Requires a public presentation. You are the public, and I am presenting. Now, I want to say the Rhode Island Council for the Humanities is an affiliate of the National Endowment for the Humanities. And it is, the NEH is under fire, so if you're interested in sending a stern letter to your congressman, now's the time to do it. All right, good job. Once I got the grant and realized I had to talk about this stuff, Sue recommended the Athenaeum to me. So yes, I came down and talked to Christina. I said, I'm doing this research. I'm doing this book. It's about shellfishing in Rhode Island. What do you think? And she said, well, we're doing this thing on Moby Dick. What do you think? Well, I told her I have the same birthday as Proust, and that was it. I can come up here and do anything I want.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Pretty much. Let's see. Now, it may seem I've kind of stacked the deck here a bit. You see, Sue, I came here to a couple of other salons, and people got grilled. And Sue said, Ray, you're going down. And so I invited some people. It's an open salon. And here tonight are some friends, some shell fishermen. I bet you could pick out a couple of these people. Scientists, academics. I don't see any of the DEM people, the regulators. Are any of those guys here? No? Okay. Is that saying something? Now, the thing is, none of these people is on my team. They all want me to go down in flames, particularly my friends. So don't worry, the deck is not stacked in my favor tonight. I want to say thanks to these people too, because everybody has been very generous with their time as I've done the research for this talk and for this book. Even my friends have pitched in and helped me out with things, and I very much appreciate it. And I hope their generosity continues, because I need to learn a lot more stuff. And above all, I want to thank my fiancée, Amy over here, who has supported me more than anyone. All right, great. I've thanked everybody. About the book, let me say a few things about the book, because it's very different from what we're going to talk about tonight. It doesn't have anything to do with whaling. That just happened. The book will be out late fall, early winter this year, I hope. Globe Pequot Press. It's about sustainable food. It's got one question, right? Who produces sustainable food? And I give the answer: people like the shellfishermen in Narragansett Bay. So it's a question about, if we want to have sustainable food, someone has to produce it. You can't just go and buy it. Somebody has to do that work to produce it. And sustainable farming and fishing means a move away from capital-intensive, machine-intensive, chemical-intensive, industrial-scale, federally subsidized and directed farming and fishing, and towards labor-intensive, small-scale, locally oriented, locally supported farming and fishing. And that means a lot of hard work for the people who do that job. So that's what I turned to the shell fishermen for. I wanted to, this is an industry, nobody knows about it, but it's been sustainable in modern terms for at least 50, 60 years, possibly longer. And I wanted to take what they're doing, put it in this language, and present it. Now, I chose them as my subject because my father and grandfather were both quahauggers here in Narragansett Bay, so I figured it wouldn't be too hard. It turned out to be hard. There's a couple of reasons. The idea of doing this work that had such a personal stake for me, well, I mean, that's something, I have friends who have been trying to get me to write about this for 15, 16 years, and I refused out of emotional cowardice, but I figured this was the time to do it. And it did turn out to be difficult for that reason, because it is a personal story. In some regards, because of problems I expected, in some regards because of problems that were contingent. While I was talking with people, relationships with fathers were very important. Quahauggers are 99.9% men. And that's just the way it is. There are a few women who have done it, but it's largely men. And the people I was talking with had strong relationships with their fathers, both good and bad. That made things intense for me, but also some things happened. I talked with people who had lost their fathers recently. I talked with people who had lost their fathers many years ago. And while this was going on, last year my father was gravely ill. He went in the hospital March 2nd. He came home the day after Christmas. So I'm interviewing people about the things that they've gone through having lost their father, and my dad's in ICU. But this is a truth of the book. This kind of thing is important. If we want people to do this kind of work, we have to accept that there are consequences throughout their whole lives. And so that's enough about the book. So that's what it's going to be about, but not tonight. We got to begin with a decision. Okay? This is a salon, and I expect there will be a lot of exchange, conversation. And I think that's, as I present this, I don't want to just give a lecture and then have a question period. I'd like to have a little bit of interaction as we're going along, as long as I remain the most important. So here we go with that. This is the question before us right now. Let me set the scene, because I know not everybody has gone all the way through Moby Dick yet. But I'm going to begin with a quote. And the deal is, we have the Pequod, the big whaling ship. We have the 4 whale boats on the side. They're the boats that go out and fight the whale. So Melville has this great scene, very famous, where he's explaining how the mates and the captain, they're in the back of the whale boat steering it with an oar. They encourage the guys rowing to do their best. And there are these very famous monologues. Each mate has a distinct style. And it's gorgeous, gorgeous writing. But he doesn't tell you what Ahab says. Okay? Now this is why. This is the explanation. But what it was that inscrutable Ahab said to that tiger yellow crew of his, these were words best omitted here. For you live under the blessed light of the evangelical land. Only the infidel sharks in the audacious seas may give ear to such words, when with tornado brow, and eyes of red murder, and foam-glued lips, Ahab leaped after his prey. So, what we need to decide is, are we an evangelical land, or are we infidel sharks? Do we want to hear the full language?
Yes.
Of course.
All right, then, let's get going. You asked for it. I mean, it's going to happen. So, all right, let me get, this is my PowerPoint.
No.
I thought Christina would be impressed by this. Papa roll, right? All right. Now, I want to say that this is not the first time that shellfishing and whaling have been compared. There are a few other instances that I know Don Busquet. Like every third cartoon. There's also a video that Dale Levitt over here, Professor Roger Williams, he showed in his shellfish farming class. It's called The Big Q, and you can find it on YouTube. And it's about a quahog that kind of roams around, I think it's Narragansett or something like that, and eats people. And you know, it's kind of like they have people talking about their encounter with the Big Q. And whatnot. But the best of all of them is Arlo Guthrie's story of Reuben Clamzo. Right? You know it. Okay. Smoking something. So it's a folk tale. And what he tells us is that the Indians, American Indians, this was done in the 70s, so you could say Indians, they never had linguine. And because they never had linguine, they didn't eat clams. And because they didn't eat clams, clams grew to gigantic sizes. The size of this room, the size of the building, the size of a city block. And when they get that big, God gives them little feet, and when they get little feet, they come on land and eat little people. So, when the settlers came, they had to defend themselves in some way. They developed a method of doing it. Well, they developed tools and techniques. The tool was a clampoon. The techniques were to go out and sing songs called clam shanties, and because clams hate music, they come out of the water, and then they have a big battle. And the idea is that there's this folk hero, Reuben Clamzo. He puts the last clampoon into the last clam that was ever seen, and puts himself out of work, and then goes whaling. So that's where, you know, we're in a tradition. Is what I'm saying. Okay, this is real. All right. So what I want to start with is a direct connection between shellfishing and Moby Dick, and you can see it on your pamphlets here, your handouts. And for this, I'm indebted to Kate Woodhouse. She found an illustration I was looking for in the first edition. Right up there at the top. I think these are the only illustrations in every edition of Moby Dick, but I'm not quite sure. The one on the right is from the first edition, and the one on the left is from later editions. And we know what's going on here, yes? Do we know? Okay. Quahog, his mark. What's happening is the great pagan harpooner, Queequeg. He's signing on to the Pequod. And Captain Peleg, who's one of the owners of the Pequod, he can't get Queequeg's name right, so he calls him Quahog. And he even writes on Queequeg's contract, Quahog, his mark. And then Queequeg makes his mark, a queer, rounded figure that resembles one of his tattoos. Queequeg's all covered in tattoos, pointed teeth, he's a cannibal. It's fantastic. So what's interesting about this was not going to be the epigraph to the book, by the way. Quahog, his mark. So you can see the two different versions here. Initially, it was just this cross. That wasn't actually a queer rounded figure. I talked to a Melville scholar about this. I really went deep. Later on, they put the hand-drawn figure with the handwriting. And it seems that it was Melville's sister who drew this. We were very interested in this. We needed to find out. So there it is. Now I want to talk, right, about what this all means, because it's a fun way to get us into. Yeah, I've got like a bunch of these. All right, it's a fun way to get us into talking about quahaugs. All right, and so no, it's okay. I'll make you. All right. This is how I write my book. I'm not kidding.